There are 6 principles to help grow your business, 4 principles to position your business, and 3 principles to communicate your business. Let's start on the 6. The 6 I'm referring to, which you can see in my book, Strategize Up, is Clover: clarity, leverage, optimization, vision and value, execution, and results. From that, you need to be clear internally and externally simply on who you are, why you exist, what's your purpose, who do you serve, where do you serve, and why. There should be no confusion. Confused minds do not buy. Complicated processes do not convert. We have to know what is going on. What is the purpose? It needs to be very fluid, very concise. From that, we need to leverage. You need to leverage everything in your arsenal to put yourself in the best way, perception-wise, and in the literal sense to help you garnish attention, garnish impact, garnish trust, to convert that into conversions and revenue opportunities. So leverage could simply mean, how do I better leverage my time? How do I better leverage my resources? How do I better leverage my own community? As we're building and we're growing, we have to optimize. This is one of the critical things that people honestly don't do. They set it and forget it, like it's a QVC commercial back in the day, and they don't optimize for it. They don't make the modifications, adjustments. You got to do the pivot to make this thing happen the way it needs to happen. And so you constantly need to optimize your marketing initiatives, your communication, how you show up on social. Switch it up. If we're so desensitized to the way you show up, how you look, how you sound, who you talk to, what you refer to, what you're selling, in our minds, if it's not of value to us, we're checked out and we don't care. And then you don't become the noise, you become a noise that we filter out of our minds as we're consuming your daily content, or as we see you pushing things out. We're not going to engage, we're actually going to disengage because it's not optimal experience. Now, the next thing is vision and value. They come as a right hook, left hook, 1-2 punch. You need to have clear vision. You need to present high value. Now, what is the difference between vision and clarity? Clarity is seeing exactly what needs to be, what you want it to be, and where it needs to go. Vision is being very specific on what it actually looks like, what the experience is. Even if you haven't gotten there yet, you can be clear, have clarity about the destination. Vision is manifesting it, is materializing what that actually entails for people to have some visual construct, maybe an audible construct of some type to hold on to say, this is where we're going, or this is where we are, or this is the experience I can have of myself using your service, using your product, whatever the case might be. And then the value exchange. Is it valuable? Close your eyes and picture this. You're at a party and someone asks you what you do as a marketer. How do you even begin to describe it? You have to generate leads, score them, contact them, create content, gather data, and tomorrow do it all over again and wonder if it's even working. Marketers are spread way too thin, but HubSpot has a better way. With the help of Breeze, HubSpot's collection of AI tools and features like Content Remix turn one piece of content into a suite of assets, pinpoint the best prospects with predictive lead scoring, and level up your campaign KPIs with a new analytics suite. So your day-to-day becomes less busy work and more driving revenue through the roof. And most importantly, you'll have a way easier time describing what you actually do at parties. Visit HubSpot.com/marketers to learn more. Which, if you think about this, whether you think of the Clover framework, yes, we have clarity, we have leverage, we're optimizing. But if we also don't have the vision and don't have the value that people would say, well, we don't know, it won't make sense. So we also have to make sure that when we're doing this thing, both sides get value. We can have a valuable product or service, but we aren't getting the literal dollar amounts, the impact that we need because we're not positioning ourselves for high value. And value is an exchange. It's not a give, 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 and that's it. You are only as good as how much you receive value, just as much as you give value. The customer is not always right. So if you're just constantly giving value constantly, and you're not receiving value back to replenish that well, you're operating out of a depleted state, which does not help you. It doesn't help you whatsoever. So you got to change that. You got to make these modifications to adjust accordingly for that. So you have to make sure that the vision is there, but the value on both sides is there. Because if you're not getting enough value back, your business is going to suffer, you're going to suffer, and it's not going to work. And the last two things we have here is execution and results. You can have the best strategy, best marketing, create the content, all this jazz. If you don't actually execute, it doesn't matter. Most people mess up at the optimization phase or the execution phase. They may do other things, they may pay and invest for other things, but if they're not actually doing the actions, doing the work, doing the driving, it won't result. It won't bring fruit into our last part, which is results. You can do everything. And if the results aren't there or aren't to your liking or needs, something needs to be adjusted. Something is wrong. We got to pivot and shift accordingly. So again, we're talking Clover, leverage, optimization, vision and value, execution, and results, which is our 6 principles to know how to position your business. And all that is critical across the board. Now, shifting gears, what are the 4 principles to ensure that our brand is positioned in the right way for the maximum opportunities to be shown? We go from Clover, which is our 6 principles to help drive growth in a sustainable and scalable way, to now bringing that down to our 4 principles to position ourselves for the most optimal perception amongst our target ICP cash, which is credibility, authority, social proof, and high net worth.
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
For starters, if you have no credibility, no one's going to consider you. You're not going to be able to get any type of attention, any type of driver, any type of marketing through any channels if you don't have any credibility. Now, used to be the time where you couldn't pay for blue check mark. You had to work hard, reach out to platforms, build enough PR, media, content assets to then have a small, slim chance of then getting that coveted blue check mark. Now you can pay for it. Still, a lot of people don't pay for the blue check mark, so that could be an easy, quick way to, let's say, hey, I'm serious. I'm trying to garnish attention. I'm real, which we also know that maybe some people do pay for blue check mark that aren't, but I digress. The whole point is, what are the ways we can leverage to then build our credibility? A big part of that is building credibility is through community. What are people who aren't you saying about you when you're not in the room, when you're not around, and unprompted? Are people tagging you, mentioning you, referencing you, your strategies, your systems, your processes, your services, your business, who you are as a personal brand or part of a bigger brand, your affiliation, all of that? Is that being articulated and it can be easily found and discovered to then people associate you with value, associate you with high level of credibility? From that leads into authority, which runs parallel. If you're creating the content, if you're creating the assets, and it's bringing information and bringing impact that people are using, that people can see, now you're slowly building the authenticity and the authority that is you as a personal brand and you as a change agent and a catalyst for your business, which also expands. Also, a third lane, think of like a highway, got a 4-lane highway. On the third lane, we have the social proof. And all of this falls on top of one another. They fall in the same category, and all of it brings things forward. So that social proof is also needed, from the blue check mark to the easy searchability to the mentions to the community. And that creates the perception of high net worth. Anyone who is a top 1%er in any industry, in any field, has cash, credibility, authority, social proof, and high net worth. You can create that environment and that eco space, even if you're not a millionaire yet. Even if you're not a millionaire yet, you can create that ecosystem, that environment that can be conducive to make this thing happen and position yourself in the best possible way. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I do believe you create the right perception. The people will eventually take action. People will then ask questions. People get curious. People would recommend. People will follow up. People will then want to inquire because of the positioning, which creates the right perception because you're being perceived in the right way that influences people to either tell people or share. As I like to say, 3 level stages of buyers, advocates, and elevators. They're either going to become a direct buyer, or they're going to become an advocate, or they're going to become an elevator. Buyer being someone who actually goes through the whole process to convert as whatever you're selling, they buy to convert as a sale to help you drive revenue and profitability. If they're not a buyer, they're an advocate. They're someone who is sharing information, sharing your content, referring business to you, being that advocate who, in rooms you can't be in industries or spaces you don't have enough cash in, they can be the catalyst to break through a lot of those barriers to help you penetrate quicker to have the opportunities. Or ultimately, they could be simply an elevator who is following your content, sharing your content. And even though people may think that's nothing, that can still create opportunities for you. And an elevator can always become an advocate, and an advocate can always become a buyer. And so you're climbing up the ladder from that, and you're applying Clover the entire time. And now we have cash to then, hey, we got cash and we got, our 6-leaf Clover. We are doing this thing. We got that 1-2 punch with our vision and our value. We're making this thing happen, right? And so again, cash, credibility, authority, social proof, high net worth, leading into from Clover, clarity, leverage, optimization, vision, value, execution, and results. Stay with me. We go from our 6 to our 4, and now we're at our 3 principles to communicate the content on social media and other channels. And I don't know about y'all, but I like to eat. I wouldn't say I'm a big back, but I know a lot of people who are like, you know what, I'm a big back. I want to be a big back when it comes to business. I want to be a big back when it comes to driving revenue and growth and success. And to do that, we got to eat. We got to eat, okay? With that, that breaks down, simply put, emotion, action, and type. When you're pushing out content, what emotion do you need for the receiver to feel, to be in the mind space of, the head space of? What do you need to convey in this moment? The right emotion coupled with the right action requests in the right type is going to be the proper formula for you to convert, regardless of platform, regardless of medium, regardless of industry. So let's try an example. It's the new year. So the emotion I may want to trigger is pulling on someone's heartstrings. I want to then, from that, maybe become vulnerable in the content I share. The action may not be a hard request to, hey, go on my website, pay for a strategy session with me, and let's do this thing. That may come a little too aggressive, a little too harsh. The action may be more community focused, community driven, impact driven, where it's a redirect, where, hey, tag someone who you feel needs strategy support. I'm offering 5 to 10 25-minute free strategy sessions as my way to get back to community, but I need your help. What businesses do you know are trying to get off the ground? What colleagues that you know have funding and they need marketing support to do this thing? What do I do? And then I may, from the type, to bring that emotion to the forefront, I may use a video to do it. I may create a video that says, hey, I'm Sandidge. I've done this for 15 years. I helped a lot of brands. It's the time of year that a lot of people are realizing I could have done more. I could have pushed more with my business, but life got in the way. I have some assets. I have some investment money. I have a plan. I know I need to do this in the new year, but I just can't formalize it. What do I do? So from eating, I'm creating that emotional connection that leans into the action part, which is basically the CTA of asking people to be advocates and, hey, spread your wide net and tag people you know who, if they just had a 25-minute strategy session to help them find clarity, to identify the leverage points, to learn where to optimize, to define their vision and value, to see what milestones would define as execution, and where do we go that makes results be what it is. Clover, how do I build that credibility, that authority, that social proof, that high net worth? Cash, please tag them. So we have the emotion, we have the action, and we have the type. Because in this case, if I'm trying to be the most vulnerable, I need people to have the most social cues. So they can hear my voice, they can see me, they can connect with my verbal and nonverbal cues, they can see I'm authentic, they can see, and even the expressiveness can match the emotion I want to convey. Video would be the best choice for this type of style. So we have the emotion, we know the action, and we have the type. That's the best way to do it. That's our formula. I'll put it on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, maybe on Facebook, and see what's cooking. See what happens. So again, Clover, cash, and eat. We all want to eat. We got to know the emotion, we got to know the action, and the type with our content style. Going level up, it doesn't matter if we don't have enough credibility. So we got to build up our cash, our credibility, authority, our social proof, and create the perception of high net worth. And even higher, to help us grow in marketing and sales and positioning, all the things and the whole operational process of our business, we need clarity, leverage, optimization, vision and value, execution, and results, otherwise known as Clover, to do that process. So and even hopefully you all understand those three things and how we move this across. Have you ever wondered what goes on in the mind of top creators like Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and Danny Duncan and so many others in the creator economy? Well, Created with John Uche tackles all of this. Created, hosted by John Uche, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Created gives an insight look at how to build a business as a creator, improve your creative process, and stay ahead of the latest content trends. John Uche, who's ex-YouTube and an Instagram employee, breaks down the creator economy with guests like Mr. Beast, Paris Hilton, Jason Derulo, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, George Lopez, and so many others, covering episodes like Meet YouTube's richest 12-year-old employee, Ryan's World, to talking about so many different parallels in the creator economy and beyond. He's done over 300 million views, and so he has very well merit, and his guests have done in the millions and billions of views in the creator economy. If you're someone who's trying to learn and master how to evolve and be a better creator in today's society, go check out Created. Listen to Created wherever you get your podcasts. The next thing to think about, going from Clover to cash and how we eat, is the tried and true question that many people in marketing and business ask you all the time. Which is more important, quantity or quality? I'm going to let you sit with it for a second. Now, my people who scream quantity, okay. People who scream quality, okay. Quantity and quality, quality. Don't come for the messenger, but it's neither one of them. Blasphemy. Nah. Let me tell you. Let me eat. Let me cook for a minute. Stay with me. So it doesn't matter about quantity as much. It doesn't matter about quality as much. It is all about the value. It is all about the value. What does that mean? I'm saying I've been on one side of the coin where it was just a quantity game and we beefed up and the numbers were great, but the conversions wasn't as high. Then we did the quality game. Now,
and we
sometimes people misconstrue quality as look how much energy and effort it took me to create this asset, or maybe how much time it took me to create this asset. But I or you, as the consumer, we as the consumers, we don't have any connotation or correlation of scale that when we look on, scroll on our phones, scroll on the computer, and engage, that we can tell, oh, no, you must have spent a lot of money creating that content. Therefore, I'm going to add more value to it. Even to the point now, you see a lot of celebrity collaborations
and
still
ultimately
may not convert as someone who's an unknown, but the value in the content they created was so high. That's what drove the conversions. So it's not always about about the sheer volume or quality, whether that's in how long it took, who you put a part of it, what was the process in it, or even if you matched it directly with the audience. The value, which is ultimately what we're trying to convey, is in the eye of the beholder, is in the eye of the consumer. We're doing this dance of perception and how we're being perceived. And we have to make sure that we're positioning ourselves in the best way possible. That cash, we got to have that cash flow to build that credibility. Feel me? And so the value is what's going to drive these things home. The
and we
value is what's going to make your marketing campaign great,
and
or
we
we have to pivot because it didn't do as good. I always say this: either you meet the demand or you make the demand in the marketplace. And the marketplace is like Apollo. They gonna let you know, no, that don't work. Or yeah, we down for it. We're down with you. This makes sense. Keep doing you. Keep doing this thing. So when you're planning the new year, if you're planning the next month, the next quarter, the next week, apply Clover. Look at how do we build more cash flow? How are we gonna eat? And ultimately, we have to do this exchange for value. We got to find that balance between the quantity side and the quality side. But it all needs to be aligned in the demand that the market is saying, this is what we want. This is the value we need. Can you give us more of that? And as you give more of that, you build your social proof, you build your authority, you build your credibility, which creates the perception of high net worth as you're increasing that, using Clover to then make sure, do we have clarity of where we're going? Are we leveraging the right levers, the right community, the right time, the right assets, even AI and other resources? Are we constantly in a state of optimizing? How often do we optimize? How often do we measure our results from our execution to make sure we're in the right way? Do we constantly check our vision, and are we getting enough value for the value that we're giving out, to the value we're receiving? Is that in a good balance? And we're doing this dance in a circle over and over and over again, hoping things are going up in a sustainable and a scalable way. All this aligns. All of this is necessary. And my intent for this is to express the simplicity of it. How do we go from start to the destination? And most times people don't know how to do that because they don't put the right strategies in place. Because it all comes down to this: good strategy equals intention,
and we
better strategy equals interest, great strategy equals trust, but the best strategy equals
and we
conversions and advocacy. And
and we
so make sure that you're applying the right strategies to help grow your business. Just to bring this on home, a good friend of mine, Brooke, made this post recently where she was saying, don't just fill feeds, but fill needs. Don't just schedule posts, engage. Don't just monitor mentions, make connections. And then she asked, what more would you add? And this is what I added. I said, don't just ask, activate your advocates. Don't just share, shine a spotlight. And don't just be visible, be vulnerable. Again, don't just ask, activate your advocates. Don't just share, shine a spotlight. And don't just be visible, be vulnerable. All of this is necessary to create the acumen, to create the ecosystem, create the environment necessary to be conducive for growth. And we're watering the seeds, we're planting the seeds, we're tending to the soil, we're capturing the sunlight to
and we
shine light on this little land that we got as a business, as a brand. And we want our community to come and help tend the soil and help grow it and grow it. And as more people come and as things get bigger and bigger, we're seeing the evolution going from a little plant to a tree. And the tree branches off and gets stronger like an oak. And that's the goal of any business as we're growing it. But it takes a lot of things done well in the right combinations at the right time, in the right way, for anything to be something of value, of merit, of growth potential. And we can't just water the soil constantly and think that's enough. There's so many other things we need to do. And so you just can't post content and hope you're going to get brand deals. You can't just make a website and hope you're going to get clients. You can't just make one expensive video and hope that's going to help you drive more initiatives, drive more products and services. There's a whole ecosystem of things you need to do. But to not overwhelm you, let's start off simple. Let's apply our 6 principles to growing and scaling our business, being Clover. Let's apply our 4 principles to help position ourselves for the best possible way in the eyes of others for cash. And then let's make sure our content is edible by applying EAT, that drives the right initiatives from the emotion to the action to the type. If you've just now heard me for the first time and you're probably wondering what in the world is happening, what was that I just experienced? I am Troy Sandidge, also known as a strategy hacker, who helps people grow their businesses through effective marketing strategy, immersive experiences, community advocacy, and DEIBA best practices on a marketing scale that connects people to convert. It's all about telling your story in the most optimal way with systems and structures and strategies and processes and practices all integrated to help you scale in a sustainable way that makes sense. I'm all about keeping energy and doing more with less. So I speak in mnemonics, I speak in frameworks, I speak in simplicity. And so instead of listing out all the different psychological components, sociological components, all the different connotations, all you got to remember is Clover, cash, and EAT. And if you apply those 3 things, those 6, 4, and 3 principles in the frameworks I've given you to apply them in, you're doing so much without being overwhelmed. That's what I do. That's what I love to do. Because me, as I grew up as a marketer, a lot of things were explained and articulated to me that needed a learning curve to learn. And even still, most people who are engaged with my content are not marketers. Who need my help, they're not marketers. They are consultants, they're coaches, they're chefs. They're trying to build their brand, they're trying to start their business, whatever the case might be. I don't have time to be good at marketing. I need to know enough to execute, or I need to hire someone like you to help me optimize and grow and scale, and then building a team to even double down on that. That's what I help people do. But what you just experienced is just a simple, very simple process and frameworks that you can apply right now to help you better position your business on a digital sense and in the literal sense. So I hope you come again. If it's your first time, I hope it won't be your last time. If you've been here for the whole time, you know how this drill go. So happy. Let's make this happen. And the thing is, I think most people don't know how to position themselves in the new year, in a new season, in a new month, in a change of direction, in a pivot. Nevertheless, you have to come to the realization that for me to grow, I have to change. For me to change, I have to identify what isn't working. And then notate what can I take and move out the way to start making new habits, making new positions happen. But be aware that with change comes fear, comes resistance. And so sometimes you need third parties to come and break down for you. Here's the identifiers. Here's the things we need to make changes. And we're going to do this in baby steps. So those are the things you need to do. Till next time, peace.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, Sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.